This is such a weird flex from SFWA and weird controversy they're trying to generate over something that's been kind of standard in contracts for a long, long time for book things, but they're trying to remain relevant. That's really what's happening here. They were the Science Fiction Writers of America. Now they're the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers Association. And they used to have people involved like Jerry Pournelle, Robert Heinlein. Now they have like random weird cat ladies from Seattle who actually don't make money on their books. And so they have to try to raise these like alarm bells periodically. And this is what's happening here in a new SFWA blog, which they have talked about moral rights. And it sounds very, very daunting. Moral rights. This is very important and scary stuff. But it's really not as big of a deal as they make it out to be. And like I said, it's a standard contract sort of situation. And you'll see how the writers are flipping out about this, which honestly, the more they flip out about this stuff, the less these short science fiction markets really going to even exist at this juncture. It's a snake eating its own tail sort of situation here, and I'll cover the whole thing in this video today. Thank you for being here, guys, and thank you for reading and checking things out. And this is the JD8 channel where we talk about all things science fiction and fantasy, the real fantasy news, as I like to say. So please hit the like and subscribe button. Join us. I am a science fiction writer myself. I don't know if you saw earlier, the algorithm doesn't show things on YouTube very much, and that's why I always try to get people off of YouTube. It's so important. But I dropped a trailer for my new book series this morning, and it is right here. You can see like where it just doesn't work because 3 hours ago I've got 147 views and almost 60,000 subscribers. Thank you for subscribing. It doesn't show to subscribers. It's so maddening. That's why I'm like, okay, we gotta get onto other platforms. But that trailer's here. It's only 41 seconds if you want to go watch it. For now, what I'd like you to do is get on my newsletter just so I don't lose touch with you, because if you saw this, it might be because of the SFWA topic, because of sci-fi, because of analog science fiction. Never know. And I never know if I'm going to find you again. But you get 3 free books for signing up. It's a great deal. Sci-fi, fantasy, and a full superhero graphic novel of my Flying Sparks. And thanks, guys, for making this grow as we've gone along. I don't use it as much as I should. I don't know what to write half the time because I don't want to just only send promo stuff. I like to actually connect with you guys. Let me know what you'd like to see out of a newsletter. Should I do writing thoughts and things like that? Love to hear your thoughts in the description on that. But get on here, guys, just so you don't miss things like this trailer reveal and the like, because I want to make sure that I stay connected with you. I'm going to have this great series dropping at the end of the month in Valiant Frontiers, and oh my gosh, I'm so hyped for it. It's so good. But yes, let's stay in touch. So let's get into this news right here. SFWA is panicking about moral rights in author contracts as their influence and publishing influence continues to fade. This is in response to Analog and Asimov's new ownership putting a clause like this into their contracts, but it's really not much for authors to worry about. It's been a standard practice for a long time. So moral rights sounds daunting by nature. Publisher trying to limit those just because of the rhetoric of the term. It sounds like something horrendous to be universally condemned. But in reality, it's a standard practice that doesn't impact authors very much who are selling their work. The term comes from international copyright law from the Berne Convention, where it states, independently of the author's economic rights and even after the transfer of said rights, the author shall have the right to claim authorship of the work and object to any distortion, mutilation, or other modification of or derogatory action in relation to said work, which would be prejudicial to his honor or reputation. Like I said, it's pretty big rhetoric right here. Distortion, mutilation, prejudicial honor, right? It's this sounds very scary stuff right here. But despite the intimidating terminology, moral rights waivers in publishing contracts are a standard business practice. They're not a predatory power grab. Breaking it down in layman's terms, the moral rights grants authors 2 fundamental protections: the right to be credited as the work's creator and the right to prevent modifications that could harm their reputation. While this sounds like essential protections, in reality, most relationships with publishing function smoothly without authors needing to invoke any rights, and publishers' requests for waivers stem from legitimate operational needs. So this is the thing. Publishers need to adapt the work sometimes, like audiobook versions, foreign translations, film adaptations, whatever. And with that, they don't want to have like this snag with the authors where it's like the author might hold it up just because of like a change of a word or something that sounds funny in the audiobook version, right? And the author might throw a fit about that on this level, right? And so they can't have that, especially when they've got a contract and they're putting, actual money into these type of things. And so that's why these sorts of things end up on there. They creates costly delays, legal uncertainties. They also license works to third parties a lot of the time, and that's kind of the deal right there. So in the United States, these rights are already very limited, and it only applies to visual art. So waivers primarily serve to prevent ambiguity rather than strip away any meaningful protections in this sort of situation. This came to SFWA's attention, as I mentioned, because of Analog and Asimov science fiction, the short fiction magazines, having this clause in their new contract. Now, if you don't know, Analog and Asimovs were sold to a investment group earlier this year. We covered it on the channel, of course. And this investment group's out of Florida. Like people in SFWA and the like are kind of mad about that because they just hate people in Florida. I mean, it just is what it is. And so this here appears to be a passive-aggressive article here in this writer beware here. What writers need to know to try to go at this company for putting this into their contract here. The bottom line, deciding whether to sign for moral rights waiver or walk away from a contract or agreement is difficult, complicated, and ultimately personal. So yeah, this is pointless. You can choose to negotiate, strike the waiver entirely, or modify it, etc. Don't gloss over it. And like I said, the reason it obviously came up is because of this sale of the magazine. And this guy, David Anaxagoras, him, was ranting about it on Blue Sky because of this. So he says, apparently the SFWA won't name names, but I will. Analog. The new contract under must-read magazines includes moral rights waiver, and they are rather insistent about it. I'm guessing this applies to all digests under MRM now, though I haven't seen those contracts. Don't just sign. Negotiate. Yes, he makes it seem like it's like this crazy thing. Now, here's the deal. Short fiction markets are pretty dead, guys. And there's not much going on with it. Anybody submitting short fiction at this point to a magazine like this is really not making a ton of money anyway. And these magazines don't make a ton of money or anything like that anyway either. So you have this whole situation where it's like just ridiculous, right? And you can see all it is, David Gerald, the gay Star Trek writer, Frank Wu, that's the guy married to literally Wu from Gamergate. So it's not a real marriage because they're two men. But this is like what's getting put in, right? So it's just this. They're just putting clout within the clout system as it is. So they're not selling a lot of books based on it. There's not a lot of people. I'm not going out there and going, oh, gee, David Gerald's on the cover of this book. I need to buy this. I don't know anybody who's reading this doing this juncture. But that's what's going on. It's the same thing. And so the cloud structure is angry with the cloud structure because this is all this David Anaxagoras does is write short fiction for these magazines and the like. And then says he's got a couple of film credits of things you've never heard of to make himself sound important. And that's all this is, right? And they get 8 cents a word when they sell the book. So if you sell your short story of 3,500 words and you want to get that, you're only getting $280. So there's not much here. So yeah, maybe you wouldn't want to give away those rights or whatever. But at the same time, they need those rights to stay in business because the reality of this is that these magazines are not selling enough to get much else as it is. So more came over. CL Polk, who writes queer fiction, goes, I'm not going to bother sending them anything. 8 cents a word ain't worth that. Well, that's actually true for most authors, is that it's really not worth it to write short fiction. You have to do it for the love of the genre and actually loving keeping that magazine going and helping their editorial vision. Otherwise, there's no reason for you to do it whatsoever. It doesn't make any sense. And so I just put my own short fiction up on my Subscribestar, which is like a Patreon sort of thing. It's in the description if you like that. And that's what I do. I just don't bother with it because it's just, I write it for fun is what it really comes down to. I make money off the novels. I make money off the comics. Short fiction does not move the needle. And so sometimes people ask me to be in their anthology book. I do it as a favor to them. That's, again, the only real reason to do it. If you're doing it because you're trying to extract rights and money out of it, you're in the wrong business and you can make money a lot easier just working at McDonald's, CL Polk. So maybe you should go do that. But that's really what's going on here and what they are objecting to here. So if you look at it, and I broke it down because it's difficult for magazines to make a profit. They need an additional revenue streams that are transformative, even to pay that 8 cents a word, because at about 60,000 words per magazine, it still costs them around $5,000 of the fiction just for that month before paying the staff. As it costs about $10 an issue for the subscription. It's actually $9 an issue for subscription. The print costs are around $1 an issue. Let's say they're bringing in $9 an issue, but really it's $8. Editorial costs have to cost at least $2,000 a month, maybe another $2,000 or $3,000 for art. So you're already talking Analog has to sell about 1,100 issues just to break even on that before even getting into any other shipping staff and things like that. and they only sell like a few thousand copies every couple months, right? And so they're already like having enough trouble as it is making real money. And then there's the investment cost up front that this company bought it for. These people are publishing Analog just because they want to publish Analog, not because it's a big profit center or anything like that. There's none of that going on here. So they kind of need like some rights. And what would they use those other rights for? Well, maybe they're going to try to do a audiobook version of it, or maybe a compilation version where they like do this like really high-end hardcover of some of the best of the year. And they don't want to have to go back and forth with authors over this. Like I said, seems to be the onus of why this would be in there. Just keep their options open for that kind of thing, because they might need it in the future if they want to survive. Because like I said, less and less people are buying these short fiction magazines every month. And so this is something where it's at this juncture. And so it's really silly to just flip out about it like this matters for your $280 short story as it is. You should just be writing just for the heck of it, because it's not something where it's a viable thing to make money anyway as an author. That's why I always tell people, don't write short fiction. Don't bother with it. Spend your time elsewhere. That's my advice. All right. Leave a comment down below. Hopefully this was interesting on moral rights. I didn't even know this existed until now, but I looked it up and did way too much research this morning for you guys. Thanks for being here. Make sure to go check out my trailer for my new trilogy, which is going to be coming out. It's on the channel from this morning. And also, please join my newsletter. It's in the description below. That way you don't miss when I come out with that book, because I don't want to lose you guys. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for watching and reading. We'll be back soon.